Tuesday, May 31st. This is Coffee Talk. I'm First Morning Meteorologist Eric Burris. We get together 7 days a week, chat about what's going on in the world of weather, both here locally and this time of year. We also talk about the tropics. So always glad to have you hanging out with us as we chat about things. I also want to invite you to share if you think anybody would benefit from a look at the local weather or, of course, a look at the tropics. Top two things we're watching today. No surprise here. The first thing is going to be our afternoon storms today. There's actually a bit of a higher threat for stronger storms this afternoon. We're going to look at that. And trouble in the tropics? Yeah, believe it or not, Agatha may be crossing into the Atlantic Basin and giving us some stuff to track. It's not maybe, it is. We'll take a look at it all. But first, let's look outside, see what's doing. This is a shot from our Tourist District Tower cam. We are waking up to partly cloudy skies. You can see on the bottom of the screen, it is nice and warm neighborhood by neighborhood. Just depends on, of course, exactly where you're located. 77 degrees in Orlando right now. We are at 77 degrees in New Smyrna Beach, 75 in Titusville, and 76 outside in Palm Bay. So it looks good. It feels good. Our first warning live Doppler radar is rain-free. There's some activity off the coast there of Flagler County. For now, that's not doing too much, but that may try to come ashore. Take a look at the overall lapse, and you can kind of see it's working ever so little closer to the coastline. So that's something we're going to have to just keep in mind over the course of the day today. Coastal showers early, kind of working inland as thunderstorms later on today. That's our overall weather pattern, and that's where we're going to get into our afternoon showers and storms. And I do point out that the thunderstorms we're tracking today may get a little stronger. Hail is a concern today. Straight line wind gusts also a concern, so keep that in mind. Lunchtime, that's where we're starting to see those coastal showers developing and then working inland and inland and inland through the afternoon, up to about a 50% coverage of rain. And you see 5, 6, 7 p.m., you see that little yellow triangle. That's because we've denoted today as an impact day, letting you know. Do I need to do something with that?
No, just keep it. You're good.
Okay. Letting you know that there is a bit of a higher threat for severe weather. Of course, in Florida, we could get strong to severe storms every day. But this afternoon, cold stuff upstairs, so it's something that we're going to need to at least track for you. All right. Temperatures before we get to the future cast and the future radar. Upper 80s, lower 90s across the interior. Mid-range of the 80s across the coastline. It's going to be another gusty day, 15 to 20 miles an hour. Temperatures right where they should be thanks to the rain that's in the forecast. So here's a look at future cast. 10 o'clock this morning, we do see some of those showers impacting our coastal communities. Notice they'll try to work inland by about lunchtime, kind of still seeing the coastal regime. By 3 o'clock, showers, thunder showers across the inland areas. And then all of this gradually working off toward the west. 5 p.m., Sumter, Lake Mary, and Polk counties getting the rainfall. And then continuing off toward the west just thereafter. So again, I think that the threat today is going to be, if we're talking about storms, I think that the threat is going to be inland. Let me just pull up the SPC threat level for today. We're under a level 1 threat for strong to severe storms, which, it means that out of everything that we're tracking, there's an isolated threat to see strong to severe storms, and it's mainly from our metro area off to the west, okay? So if you live along the East Coast, showers, maybe a few thunder showers. The stronger stuff is going to be inland just a little bit. Okay, now to say hello to everybody. I apologize, I've been ignoring you. We are going to talk tropics as soon as I say hello to you just a little bit. Mario, good morning. Yesenia, Kelly, good morning. Bruce, how are you? Tim over in New Smyrna Beach wanting the rain. I feel ya. Amanda's asking, what time am I expecting the storms? We just chatted about that. I know I'm a few seconds behind. When Agatha becomes Alex, a story of one storm's struggle. There you go. Yeah, Jessica, it happens. We'll talk more about that here in the next couple of minutes' time. Jamie over on YouTube, good morning to you. Amanda, okay, I have time. I'm heading to the beach. That sounds good. I wish I could go too. Alan, good morning to you, buddy. I like your music. I know it's not the same. David, good morning. Frankie, good morning to you. I'm planning a trip to Cape Coral tomorrow and returning Saturday. Hopefully the system that will be in the Gulf will not impact my trip too much. We'll talk tropics in a minute, won't we? Yeah. Michelle, good morning to you. Warren, good morning. Thoughts on Volcano Bay on Thursday? I would just say that we've got those afternoon showers and thunder showers in there. Yeah. Frank, so my entire drive home will be spectacular. Yes, that's correct. If you're coming to... Oh, wait, today is Tuesday. Yeah. Yeah, your entire drive will be spectacular. Gary, can't believe I'm cranky because I have no rain here in Palm Bay. I know. Maybe a couple of coastal showers today. It will all work. It will all change around. Just give it time. By the way, we're talking a lot about rain here this weekend. So shall we get to the tropics? Let's do that. Okay, so the tropics. You know as well as I do that we've been talking tropics for a while now. You also know that I pride myself on not hyping anything. So we're just going to discuss the tropics, and we're going to discuss it in a no-hype manner. All right, so there is the latest on Agatha in the Pacific Basin. Agatha is now a tropical depression. It was a powerful hurricane right up to about landfall. Strongest May hurricane in the eastern Pacific Basin, I believe, on record. Winds, I think, topped out at 105 miles an hour. I'd have to go check. But at any rate, it's falling apart and is expected to continue to fall apart over the course of the day today. As a matter of fact, here's a look at the National Hurricane Center's forecast. They don't really have a cone because by this afternoon, it becomes a remnant low. So Agatha will be dead, but the moisture from Agatha will not be dead. The moisture from Agatha will not be dead, and that is going to be what continues to move into the Atlantic Basin. So here's the satellite imagery. Obviously, not a big deal for now. But as the moisture from Agatha continues to move off toward the north and the east, that's where it could be something we have to watch. Now, the percentages of tropical development have continued to rise, and I expect it to continue to rise, okay? It's a very complex system, but the overall idea is it falls apart over Mexico, which is what's happening right now. Then that moisture ball of sorts, that little piece of energy, moves back out either in the Yucatan Peninsula to the Gulf of Mexico or the Yucatan Peninsula over to the Caribbean Sea. But it moves back out over water. Water temperatures in that area, plenty warm for tropical development. So we'll probably have some tropical development. Okay, late this week is our timeline that we're thinking. National Hurricane Center's 8 a.m. tropical weather outlook put development at a medium 60% likelihood over the next 5 days' time, and over the next 2 days' time at 10%. There's not the expectation that this is going to rapidly explode. But this week you're going to be hearing us talking a lot about the tropics. You're going to be hearing it, and we're going to be forecasting it. Why are we forecasting it? Because that blob is moving our direction, right? So we're talking about impacts. It means Tony, Kellyanne, Cam, their weekend's probably going to be spent at the station, at least Saturday. All right, what are the tropical models saying? Let's start with the tropical models, and then we can move on to the global models. They're kind of moving it in that direction. There's pretty good agreement. We have flown a National Hurricane Center recon flight into the system, and that gave us much better data. And you can see those spaghetti plots are basically heading toward Florida. What about the global models? Let's take a look at them. And I did this on our new 6 a.m. Tracking the Tropics. Every day at 6 a.m. during hurricane season, we're going to do a quick 2-3 minute Tracking the Tropics update. So before coffee talk, frankly, before I even get my cup of coffee, while I'm making my cup of coffee, I will do just a quick 2-3 minute update. And so we've got this. Now there's new data in, so we want to follow that. So this is the GFS on the right. This is the European on the left. They're both in fairly good agreement, but there are some subtleties to the differences, and that plays into our forecast picture. So they both bring the storm system away from the Yucatan and toward the Florida Peninsula. This is Friday afternoon at 2 p.m., okay? Notice the Euro is perhaps a little stronger than the GFS, but the Euro is also a little further to the north. Now, follow through time, because it's going to be the tale of the two models. You've got the European model on the left, which brings it toward Fort Myers, Naples, Tampa. The GFS on the right keeps it around Cuba, the Florida Straits, and the Florida Keys. Now, That's a big difference, right? Because it's kind of a feast or famine situation. On the one hand, the European is saying, get ready to build your ark, people, because we're talking about big rains this weekend. The GFS is like, put your binoculars on. That way you can track this thing as it goes by to your south. And you're going to hear me say this a lot. Computer models are guidance, not gospel. So we're definitely going to have to keep our eyes and see how this plays out. Yeah. All right. Continuing on. That's Saturday. Let's go through Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. Okay. This is midnight, Saturday into Sunday. The GFS on the right side has the low south of Florida. The European on the left side has the low basically over Florida. And so there's a big difference there. Okay. And then, of course, after that, both models take it off toward the east-northeast, moving it away, moving it away. If you follow the European, it may even kind of scrape up into the Carolinas. The GFS, it just kind of moves away and away. When we talk about the differences, this, I think, is the most alarming thing. I don't want to say alarming, but it's the most interesting thing. On the left, the European, the model that says it's going to put a lot of rain over Florida, is showing the oranges and even the rust shades. You're talking 3 to 5, even up to 8 inches of rain in some spots. The GFS is saying it's all going to be south. So you can see where there's kind of this interesting little scenario. It's too early to tell what is going to happen with this thing. We know that, but I hope that the model data explains it. Now, we'll look at all of the raw stuff here in a couple seconds. I just wanted to kind of set the stage there. Now, before we get into the raw model data, I do want to say, where is this in the LRC? If you understand how we put together our long-range hurricane forecast, I'm very open and I'm very transparent about this. We look at weather players, log them, and then watch them loop over and over and over. Okay? So as this is playing out, it was yesterday morning when we were looking at the BSR, and I was like, well, that's interesting. Let the BSR, we use all these different long-range techniques on Coffee Talk, the BSR being one. So let me just pull up the BSR. Let me do that. The BSR is a way to kind of get an idea of what's to come, all right? So this is the BSR, and you can see there's an area of low pressure very near. Oh, no, you can't because I didn't put it up there. Hold on. My apologies. There's the BSR, and you can see there's an area of low pressure very near South Florida, okay? So the BSR yesterday, when I saw it, I was like, interesting. So then that led Jeremy Nelson and I to start case studying and seeing where this was in the LRC. Did we miss something in the LRC? And the answer is yes. Thursday, November 18th, 2021. Little piece of moisture over South Florida. If we go to the next day, that little piece of moisture continues over South Florida. It wasn't much, but there was an indicator there. Okay, so it wasn't much. Didn't think much of it. Second cycle, though, January 26th. This is the one that I didn't take enough into account. There's a storm system there, Southwest Florida. Go to the next day. Moves out to the east and starts to close off. Yeah. Then there's the April version. Ahead of a front, little trough. So it is such a small indicator, such a quiet indicator, but frankly, it was this January one that should have at least gotten on my radar. But again, it was a very, very weak indicator, but it was there. So, that said, my confidence has gone up. Now that I see the harmonic there, the teleconnection on the LRC, my confidence has gone up that this is going to be a Florida thing. For a while, the models were kind of zigzagging and all this, and I was like, I have to see. right before that Texas and Louisiana thing, there was this. So the LRC shows it. Just had to find it. And that happens. I would say that it happens. It's still hitting into a hotspot that we had forecast, looking at the overall patterns, but it wasn't one of our featured systems. Now, the next question that you may have, does that mean that this should be a featured system? Well, if it's going to be around June 5th, 6th, you add 64 days to June, July, that's August 10th-ish. We may get a small indicator around August 10th, and then 8, 9, 10, then September, like mid to late September, that's kind of when we're transitioning into the new. If it's mid-August, then it would be September. October, it's going to be, so there's one more harmonic or teleconnection of this in the hurricane season. So I'll see what this one does. If it's an interesting player, then we may have to add it to our long-range forecast for like August 10th. All right. So here's the GFS, the raw GFS model. We showed you kind of the broader thing, but this is the raw stuff. GFS kind of taking it south. You can see the low there around the Keys. That's 9Z on Saturday. So that's 5 a.m. Saturday morning, and then moving out to the Bahamas, and then kind of moving out from there. And then look out there in the Bay of Campeche. There's kind of an area of low pressure developing around Mexico and Texas. All right, so that's the GFS. It's kind of something interesting. And then there's like that Texas, the little Texas feature. Yeah. So anyway, there's that. All right, let's switch over. Let's look at the European model. This is the 6Z. It only goes out 90 hours. But through 90 hours, you at least see that the European is trying to develop it, and that is trying to develop it into a 999 low? So it's trying to develop that into a tropical storm, perhaps even a hurricane. So that's interesting. If we switch from the 6Z to the 0Z, it goes out a little further, and you can see, 995, that's, that the European is saying that it could be a little storm, an actual decent storm to deal with. So comparing the computer models and then now finding it on the LRC and it standing out in the BSR, I would say to you, it looks like, my friends, this weekend we're going to get something of a tropical system. Yeah. Do I think it's going to be a major hit? Probably not a major hit, but it's going to be something. So here's where we're at, okay? Next couple of days, it should say today, not tonight through Tuesday. Hold on a second. I'll fix that. Stand by. I'll fix that. Save. Close out of view. Stand by. Let it update. Okay, there we are. All right, so here's kind of the idea. So today, the storm system is falling apart. It is over land. It's already a tropical depression. Will continue to weaken. Tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, we're watching it as it eventually reemerges out over water. And we'll be watching to see how much it develops during that time frame. Okay? And then this weekend, I think we're going to have impacts. That's the way it looks. Okay? The official forecast from the Weather Prediction Center in terms of rainfall is kind of trying to hedge bets between the GFS and the Euro. They're going with the most rain down south. But again, we know that the rainfall forecast varies from model to model, okay? So that's where we're at. Any questions, comments, concerns? I want to make sure to answer everything you've got. A lot of people are asking about, is there actually something that we need to track in the tropics? And the answer is yes. Hurricane season begins tomorrow. Okay? And our climate does depend on weak tropical systems. But, look at the Euro rainfall for just this weekend. If we look on a broader scale, I think that this tells the story, right? Because one model says feast, the other model says famine. Big differences there. All right? Beverly says the length of the cycle makes it difficult. Fewer recycles to analyze. Absolutely correct. This has been the hardest LRC year that I've ever had, and I've been doing this for about 4 or 5 years. Carolyn's asking, will you add this to your long-range forecast? I would say I need to watch this version. If this version does something, then I will add the mention of it for that like August 10th-ish timeline. But yeah, it's there. It's there. It's just, it was such a minor thing, its first version, and even the second version, it wasn't huge. And a good example of this would be Hurricane Harvey. When I went back to case study Hurricane Harvey with Cam Tran, it was a very small indicator. It was there, but it was a very small indicator. And so there's so much going on in the atmosphere. We are still human. And so that's kind of the way that it is, right? Judy's asking, why 2 different names for the same storm? So in the Pacific, they have their own list of names. Once it weakens, it then becomes dead. Then if it reforms in the Atlantic basin, it would get its own Atlantic name. If it were to have held its own as it crossed Mexico, it would have kept Agatha. And personally, I thought that would have been interesting because then it would have been that the Atlantic basin would have had 2 A-name storms this year, Agatha and Alex. But of course, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. But good question there. Yeah. Let's see here. Good morning. Am I reading and watching it right that we will probably Sunday night, whatever is going on will pass through? Yeah, I think that by Sunday night, whatever it is, if it's moving over us, it will be out of here. But this weekend is going to be an interesting one to check. Joel says the LRC is correct again. I would say that any problems with the LRC are on me, the forecaster. The science is there, but I'm only human. I'm going to pick up what I think are the bigger players, but sometimes that's just not the case. Thomas, can we see a tropical storm watch on Thursday? Yeah, it's going to be an interesting player because it's going to form like tomorrow and Thursday. And so, yeah, by Thursday, sure. The West Coast, we'll have to certainly watch it. Yeah. Still too early to know, Tom says. It could be a whole lot of nothing burger. It could just be rain. I'd love that. We need rain, so that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But Janice said it best. Hurricane season is upon us. It's true. It's true. Vivid says, wait and see what develops. I can tell you that I will be doing, over these next few days, more updates, not just coffee talk. We are starting something new. Hurricane season, 6 a.m. I'm going to be live for like 3 minutes. It's not going to be interactive. It's just going to be, here's the data. As you're waking, I want to make it so that during hurricane season, if you wake up and you pull out your phone, you can get a quick nugget of tropical information. Then we'll do coffee talk at 8, and we'll do coffee talk at 3:30. But I just want to be able to throw something at you, just a quick tropical update, okay? Mickey's asking for the ensembles. Absolutely. I get so wrapped up in just running my mouth that sometimes I forget to take a look at all the data. All right. Tropical ensembles. Let's start with the GFS. Let me just go back. The ensembles, if you're not familiar, think of it as, this is the GFS model, but it's like Baskin-Robbins. It's like 51 flavors of the GFS. I know that there's not 51 flavors of Baskin-Robbins, but you get the idea. So, right here, Fridays, when the ensembles start throwing areas of moisture at Florida, and you can see all the low members are kind of going toward Florida. At least most of them that develop go toward Florida. So, there's that. Let's back this up, and let's switch over to the European ensemble. All right, here's the European ensemble. Yeah, you can see they're there. Yep, that's absolutely the case. Yep, that's That's it. Ensembles are keying in. And like I said, again, because we found it on the BSR, if you look, there it is on the BSR, low pressure around Florida, because we found it there on the BSR, because we found it on the LRC, my confidence is going higher. This becomes Alex if it gets named again. Correct. Yeah. Linda, are you feeling it would be a hurricane? At this point, it's just too early to tell, honestly. Tiffany says, thank you for keeping us posted. Of course, of course, of course. Probably going to need some coffee this week. That's too funny. Oh, thank you, Kelly, my dear. Ugh. I just hope this is not the overall trend for the entire hurricane season. That's just me, though. Does the Pacific hurricane season ever reach the Greek alphabet? It never has. And remember, we retired the Greek alphabet. There's now a secondary list of names for the Pacific and a secondary list of names for the Atlantic. So, no, it has not. It will not. But yeah, there's the latest on Agatha. Evelyn, should we start going to the grocery store for gallons of water? I would, look, no, let's not go bonkers. But I would say, we're just, we're less than a day away from hurricane season. So we need to be getting our stuff anyway. Each time, little by little by little, we need to be getting our supplies for hurricane season. All right. Thank you for all this information. This is so interesting. I just try and have a nice broad look here. What do the keys look like Sunday, Monday? Jessica, I would say that Agatha, as it transitions into the Atlantic Basin and becomes Alex, it's going to be somewhere around Florida. It just depends which model ends up being right. If you trust the European, Sunday, Monday will be not so bad. But if you trust, this is the GFS model, the GFS is bringing whatever, Alex becomes, if it becomes Alex, right through the keys, and that's Saturday. So by Sunday, it would be kind of pulling away. But yeah, it just depends on which model. Which model you trust. Boy, my allergies are killing me, man. All right, Brian. Eric, how much of a possibility is there that Mexico could turn Agatha hard right and just go into either South America or out to sea? It's possible. Listen, with weak tropical systems, models don't do great. So this could be a whole lot of nothing burger, But on our 7-day forecast, we're tracking the tropics because we don't yet know how this is going to play out. So asterisk there. Okay, number 2. Are there any fronts coming to steer this away? It would steer it toward Florida. There is a weak front to our north in that time frame of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, which would steer it toward Florida. And number 3, what effect will the dust layer have in steering the storm? Dust doesn't steer it. It just doesn't allow it to develop. But the Madden-Julian oscillation is going in phase. That's going to help with spin. And the dust is kind of retreated. So there's that as well. Let's see here. Can you show the rain forecast comparison again and talk about the gray GFS one? Is that 40 inches of rain? No. Gray is just our base map. Yeah. Give me 1 second to find that. Just a second. I see where you're saying 40 inches of rain. It's not 40 inches of rain. It would have to go through all the colors to get there. That's why gray is on the top, because you'd know if it was hitting that. No, that gray is just our base map. The GFS is saying we're barely going to get any rainfall from it, whereas the Euro is saying you're going to get some rainfall from it. Yeah, so that's kind of what we're looking at. All right. Put up the 7-day forecast again. No, I was not trying to be negative with my LRC comment. It is, after all, science. What I was saying is it was close. Oh, no, Joel, I didn't take it negatively at all. I just saw you guys doing this last night. I think it's great. Listen, we try to keep you updated. That's all. We try to keep you updated. Let's see here. Instead of hunker down, I say we drink coffee when Eric says not gospel. Hey, that's fine with me. As long as you're drinking coffee. Right, mama? Buckle up, y'all. Floridians are built for hurricane season. We got this. That's it. Listen, This is like threat 1 of like 50 for the year. You know what I mean? So just remember that. Coffee with a kick. I like that. What are the water temperatures in the Gulf? They're up there. Yeah, they're up there. Mid to upper 80s in the loop current. They're up there. Christine, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. We're here every day at 8 o'clock in the morning. We're here every day at, weekdays at 3:30 in the afternoon. And during hurricane season, as updates come, we certainly do many, many, many more updates. Yeah, as needed. People, don't panic. We go through this every year. Nothing we can do about it. If it happens, it happens. Just prepare. That's it. That's also why come Wednesday, tomorrow, 7 p.m., our WESH 2 2022 Hurricane Special, Surviving the Season, airs. So be sure to check that out, okay? Let's see here. My daughter's supposed to graduate Friday, Ocala, Florida. How's that looking? So, Friday, showers and storms. We just have the kind of Friday, Saturday, Sunday time frame is going to be difficult. We have to see what the tropics do. That's going to absolutely play out differently depending on the GFS version versus the European version. Yeah, definitely going to have to figure it all out. Vanessa, I missed it. What's the red circle on Wednesday? It's a little hurricane icon. I put it there just to note that tomorrow is the first day of hurricane season. That's what it's there for. We're not getting a hurricane on Wednesday. All right. Now, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we'll definitely be tracking the tropics. But yeah. Gina says, hi, Eric. So don't cancel my Tampa trip for Friday and Saturday yet. Just kind of wait. I would agree. Yeah, just wait. Don't cancel anything yet. Don't cancel anything yet. Yeah. Mary says, love watching your reports. I live in Naples, and it's still good info for us. Well, thank you. Yeah, the local forecast may be a little different, but when we talk tropics, it's definitely in your wheelhouse. Yeah. Susan, that's a great point. Tax-free hurricane prep items week is still happening. That's right. Don't just, the thing that I always say, though, especially when we talk about tropics, don't just go buy everything in the store. You'll go broke. Every trip to the grocery store, every trip to Home Depot or Lowe's, buy 1 or 2. Just buy little. Just buy one at a time, okay? So today, Agatha falls apart. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the remnants of Agatha may develop Alex. And if that's the case, more than likely it's heading toward Florida. The GFS, the European, all in agreement. All of the reliable spaghetti plots are in agreement. The BSR, in agreement that there will be a storm system in the vicinity. And the LRC said, yep, there's something there. So to me, there's going to be a wet weekend. Is it South Florida? Is it all of Florida? Now, these are the details we're going to have to iron out. But now that we've found it on all of our long-range kind of plots, yeah, I think we're going to have some impacts this weekend. Do I think it's going to be a massive Category 9 hurricane? No. Do I think there's going to be a bunch of rain? Sure. Do I think that we could also get no rain and it could all be down to the south? Yeah, sure. So just watch it. That's all. When is Hurricane Tax-Free Week? Jessica, I believe it's right now. Yeah, I believe it's right now. Let's see here. Arthur, Lake Howell, class of 82, going with the GFS. We'll see how this plays out. I'm not going with any model. I'm going to be watching it. I would say that the first cycle featured on North Florida, like Tampa, Cedar Key. Second cycle was South Florida. Third cycle was higher. Fourth cycle. So now that I've keyed in on it, it's kind of been a little up and down. Yeah. So we'll have to see. Let's see here. Tomorrow, I will be getting the tanks full for the barbecue grill, getting batteries and filling up my truck and getting a go bag for everyone just in case. I don't think that this is going to be a massive thing. But I would say that, it's going to be something to watch. John, would you call it a tropical storm watch? I would say that, if it tries to develop, that the Hurricane Center will be issuing watches over the next couple of days. But again, it's okay, people. When we talk about, let's have a conversation, all right? And this is one of the stories that I'm doing in our hurricane special that airs tomorrow at 7 p.m., okay? First off, Dennis Phillips is a meteorologist over in Tampa, and I'm going to steal this from him. his shtick, everybody's got their shtick, right? Like mine is no hype. Mine is I'm going to give you all the data and let you make your thing. I think that's my shtick. You tell me if I'm right or wrong. Dennis Phillips' thing at WFTS in Tampa is rule number 7. He always talks about rule number 7. He came up a couple of years ago with these rules in the tropics. Rule number 7 is don't freak out until he freaks out. With the additive of he's not going to freak out. And I love stealing that every chance I get. I'm not going to say I penned it, but that's it. So people, don't freak out until I freak out. And I'm not going to freak out. When it comes to evacuation zones, my shtick is dropping Yiddish. Yeah, probably a little true there too. When it comes to evacuation zones, and I do this story tomorrow, remember that you don't have to go all the way inland, and you run from water, hide from wind. So unless you live on the Gulf Coast, this is not even an evacuation concern for us whatsoever. And even if you do live on the Gulf Coast, we don't know what this is going to do in terms of strength. So we'll watch it. We'll see how this plays out, people. We don't need to be freaking out. If Jeannie's watching, don't get mad at me. I tell Jeannie all the time, like when the kids have a cough, it's like, don't freak out. Let's just see how this plays out, right? Same idea with the tropics, people. Same idea with the tropics. All right? Dennis Phillips, the suspenders guy. He's a good dude. Yeah, he's a good dude. He's been through it. You can always tell people that have been through the tropics because we're the ones that are like, don't freak out. Right? Your shtick is guidance, not gospel. Yeah. Yeah. Brian, in both your professional and personal opinions, how much do you agree with both sets of number predictions from Colorado State University and the National Hurricane Center? And do you think that they're over-predicting? You know what? I made my forecast. They made their forecast. They're based on different data, and they are a little different. So, look, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I don't want to knock their forecasts. I don't want them to knock my forecasts. They're all hypothesis, right? Every hypothesis is based on its own data set. Some are going to be right. Some are going to be wrong. That's all. So we'll wait and see how it all plays out. All right. So tracking the tropics late this week, people. That's what I want to make sure you know about. Do you think we'll have a better track on it tonight? I think once it reemerges out into the Gulf Basin, the Gulf, the Caribbean, that's when we'll have a better idea. All right? All right, people. Another update today at 3:30, okay? And then as this tries to develop, I can tell you that we'll be doing more frequent updates with every update from the National Hurricane Center as we, start getting into advisories if need be on the West Coast, okay? All right. Be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you so much for hanging out, all right? I'll see you at 3:30 today with the latest model data and see what the Hurricane Center's thinking then.